Welcome to Making a Million, the show where we roll for a crazy business prompt and we have to come up with a plan to make $1 million in gross revenue, or our made-up business goes up in flames and we feel really bad about ourselves. Rule number 1, we can't change the business idea or the constraints we roll. We're doing product or service ideas.
All right, folks, here we go. Microgreens.
What is microgreens?
Like sprouts?
Like sprouts. Sprouts are microgreens. Nice. Good job.
We're looking for a qualifier.
Microgreens business is nostalgic.
So, nostalgic microgreens.
Microgreens like grandma made.
These aren't your mom's microgreens.
We need some help. We need a boon. We need something to help us.
Boon. We get to phone a friend.
Nice.
All right.
Let's
Cool.
go.
What if we don't have friends?
Then we need some bad things, Nate.
All right,
Give
let's
us some
bring
bad
in the
stuff,
bad. Ooh, our industry is hitting late stage in its life. All right. Our product or service will probably be extinct in 2 to 5 years.
Oh,
Life events.
It looks like we get to re-roll on any previous thing that we just rolled on.
I vote Boon.
We could call a microgreen business.
I just
Yeah.
looking at the other Boons.
Yeah. New boon.
Money left in will. Okay, so we have enough money at the start to cover our initial expenses.
And in my head, whoever left it is who inspired us, and aka why is nostalgic. So.
Yeah. Rule number 2, we have to fill out all sections of our business plan. And rule number 3, we only have 1 hour. I'm Michael.
I'm Nate.
I'm Chris.
and I'm Dylan.
All right, so we have to make our way to $1 million with a nostalgic microgreens business with some startup money from a will. Our industry is dying. Let's make $1 million.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So how do you grow a microgreen, you might ask? Well, you just take something that's green and you don't let it grow all the way and you murder it as a child.
Oh.
So a really popular microgreen are broccoli sprouts. So you plant broccoli and they get the little sprout going and then you just harvest it. It's really cheap. It's really fun. They're really high in a lot of nutrients and they taste good. So
Okay, well, there we go. Microgreens it is.
So let's start with macro strategy. So kind of the idea is we're gonna go after a 1-page business plan from the lean canvas model. It has like 11 or 12 factors that we're gonna go after. And so let's just kind of dive in each one, but let's start with what we know already and what that means for us. So the big one, we know we're hitting a late stage business that probably won't be around for too long. So think like DVD players, like who's buying a DVD player these days, you know?
Yep.
So that means the goal of our business is probably not to be around. It's probably to exit or to transition into a not late stage cycle, right?
Yeah.
So that frames everything that we're going into, because we're not trying to make something that's going to stick around forever. We're trying to make something that we can make a lot of money fast and either exit by selling or transition to a new type of industry. And then microgreens, that kind of also already guides our branding, I would think, because it's more of a green focused thing. The nostalgic makes it kind of easy for branding because we're going to focus on, like Dylan said, greens your mom would make or grandma. Or,
You got it.
Yeah. And then what was our boon again? Oh, yeah, the money. So we have the startup capital. So that means we can, within reason, we have enough money to cover our starting stuff to get it going. So that's the macro. Let's keep going.
Pretty good. All right. So first off, we're going to hit our why, referencing all Simon Sinek. So what's the why that would inspire someone to make this business? And then also, how would that super connect with the audience that would buy our product?
Well, it sounds like whoever left us money either had a vested interest in microgreens or did it themselves, or we're doing it in honor of them. That's what I'm feeling. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. No, I love that. Maybe it really could be grandma.
Yeah, grandma loved her microgreens.
Yeah. She was ahead of her time. Before people even knew the word microgreen, she was already doing it.
Mm-hmm. Down the road, it was just a macro green market. Yeah. She was over there with her own table, just working away on her own microgreens.
I think maybe she saw like the Karate Kid with like the bonsai trees, and she was like, what if we did that with other greens?
That's awesome. She was also behind the scenes and getting avocados famous.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Trendsetter.
So yeah, And then what about the why for the audience? Like, what's that underlying thing for them about why they would join the movement?
I feel like going off of like what we're saying about like the grandma gardening idea is that we're trying to like call back to like a simpler time for people of like, you know, remember back when you could just go out in the backyard and grab your zucchini or like that kind of vibe is what we're going for. We're trying to like recapture that feeling.
Like in my head, it's like microgreens maybe like derived from someone who like tried to do gardening and then didn't know when to harvest the product and like did it too early. They're like, I'll just eat it anyway. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking.
Nice.
Like that's how the first microgreen person started, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this was actually pretty good."
Yeah.
And then like they woke up the next day and they could lift like a 50-pound boulder, and they're like, "Oh, I'm strong too."
Yeah.
Maybe there's something behind these microgreens.
It could also be like maybe like places where people want to get into greenery, but they don't have a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
So like cities like New York and Chicago and LA and stuff like that, where they're really high health conscious, but also don't have any room. And so like they could have a little microgreen garden.
Yeah, so I've actually done an obnoxious amount of research into microgreens. I'm the one that put this on the list. So I will tell you that is actually one of the biggest perks to doing a microgreen side hustle.
Nice.
It's very low space needed, very low startup costs, and you don't really have to know what you're doing. You just have to generally know like how to plant seeds, how to make soil, and you have to generally have either a normal light source or like a UV lamp going on situation. So
nice.
But we have startup money, so we don't have to just throw it out in the backyard. We can create our own little greenhouse.
Yeah.
And so what I would say is, so we have our why down. So what are some problems we're going to face? So there's going to be, what are the top 3 problems our product or service might solve for someone? So like, what is the problem we're solving with our microgreens?
People not eating enough green vegetables.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like the taste of them and they just want to sprinkle it on something that they're eating anyway, where they don't really taste it.
And that's a huge TikTok trend right now too, is like hiding vegetables in recipes. And it's really easy to throw these in stuff, especially when it cooks down.
Yeah. Like moms can like do it to their kids.
Yeah. No, I was like, for me, like my dumb jaw stuff, like it's hard to eat like fresh vegetables. So like, even I'm hearing this, I'm like, ooh, maybe I should throw these in my morning smoothie. Like that sounds actually really nice.
Throw them on top of a cream cheese bagel.
Yeah. It'd be caffeinated.
Coming soon. Yeah, so that's one problem for sure. Is,
need more nutrients.
Easy nutrients, access to greens. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about like, this is something that's like super easy to just throw on anything that you're eating too. So that could be like an aspect
Accessibility.
of it.
Convenience.
For sure, yeah. You know, you're a busy mom on the go. You don't have time to make a healthy dinner, but you've got like some crackers or whatever, and you just throw some of that on there. It's suddenly healthy.
Absolutely. The cool thing is too, like vegetables are generally easy to cook, but you can still go wrong. Like you can still overcook broccoli or like steam it wrong or whatever. Greens, like you just eat them raw. Like you literally just eat them. There's no cooking. There's no preparation.
That's a tagline. Just eat them.
Just eat them.
Nike did not come after us.
It's totally different things.
Totally different. Don't do it. Eat it.
Yeah.
So we got nutrition, accessibility,
and then maybe another one could be maybe like identity. So, for instance, like actually buying a bunch of full-sized vegetables all the time to get all those nutrients, like you're spending a lot of money to try and like, you know, stay in the healthy culture. But if you do microgreens, like you could be the one in your friend group that all of a sudden you're like, oh, have you heard of microgreens? Like I got some. And then everyone else is like, wow, Jeremy is so healthy.
He's the trendy hipster.
He's the hipster one.
Eating
so it's like you could be the coolest friend of your healthy friend group.
Well, adding on that, so ADHD is a huge thing right now, and object permanence is like a symptom of that. And so there's a running joke that if you buy vegetables as someone with ADHD, like they just you throw out the rotten vegetables in your fridge and replace them with the new ones that you're just going to keep that cycle up. So what if we? Yeah, I
You're
know.
stabbing me.
I know. It's me too. Me and Jasmine, like, we have the best intentions, and we like as we're eating our McDonald's burger, we're like, oh, these carrots are rotten, you know. So what if it's like you're the cool, trendy hipster of the group that helps people with object permanence issues? Like, hey, are you throwing away all your vegetables? Well, I have the solution for you. And they're like, there's like the halo behind Jeremy and his, long man bun flapping in the wind with his chacos and moleskin journal and skinny jeans and the shirt Dylan was wearing yesterday.
Yeah. My polo shirt.
Yeah. This is grandma's grandson. It's Jeremy, keeping the lore alive.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I think one of the core features of millennial branding is nostalgia. I mean, look at all of the remakes going on right now, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch is around every corner. Millennials really enjoy remembering what it was like. So now we can couple that with microgreens.
Yeah. So maybe the actual, like, when we're speaking to those three problems, so we got nutrition, we got accessibility, and maybe this third one is that tie back to the simpler times. People wanting to get back into farming, but they can't because it doesn't work for their life, but this can. So
maybe like the modern day nostalgists solution. Modern day, what's a easier word than that?
Yeah,
something like that.
No, we get it. We get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're locking those in.
Yeah.
So maybe Nate will write these down just so we know. So it's nutrition, accessibility, and
return to simple life.
Return to simple life. I like it. Okay. Next, we have to figure out our solutions. 3 features of our product or service that address the problems and make the customer happy. And typically these are directly associated with the problems that we're facing. So
I think we kind of mostly arrived there.
Yeah. It was just part of it. So the nutrition was, it's easy to eat. I mean, accessibility and nutrition are kind of hand in hand because it's like, you want to eat it easily because it's healthy. And so that kind of ties it in. You can throw it in anything. You can use it on anything. And then the third one, I don't know. What do y'all think the solution is?
One idea I had too is like when you guys were talking about like the ADHD thing is like with microgreens, in theory, it'd be like small packaging. So it's kind of like environmentally friendly as well from like a standpoint of you don't have like giant plastic bags of like, spinach in your fridge and, the bag's only like 1/3 actually full of spinach or anything like that. And then also like the food waste aspect of it too, of that in theory, you're going to have way less waste going into like your garbage.
So here's an idea. So all of the microgreens I've bought have been in, like the kind of cherry tomato plastic containers or like strawberry containers. That most of them have been in that. So what if part of our solution is also they come in smaller containers that are made of like a recyclable, compostable, nutrient dense container that you can use to grow your next batch of microgreens. Right?
Perfect.
So it's like incentivizing, hey, buy this, it's smaller so you're not going to waste, and also we're going to help you figure out how to grow it at home and kind of create that.
Yeah, so maybe that really, in retrospect, looking at that third one, it's like more of the word would be like sustainability.
Yeah. I got a tagline. Remembering yesterday as we fight for tomorrow.
Oh, dang, that's
And then
great.
it's just like this really insightful, dramatic, like grandmother looking off in the distance while her grandkid is like hugging her from behind or something.
Yeah. I love it. I don't want to draw that logo.
It's not going to be John. It's going to be a real picture.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So this is, before we move on to the next one, which is unique value proposition or UVP, we're going to take a small moment and just talk about our sponsor for today, which is HiveThink, which is us. And so we do small business coaching. We're a little small business accelerator, and we help people get their business figured out. So say hi to us. You can do that right here, wherever I put on the screen.
I like it.
Thanks, HiveThink.
You're welcome.
It's such a good group of guys.
All right. So moving on. Unique value proposition. We need a single, clear, compelling message that states why we're different and why we're worth buying.
So first, I think we need to examine the current microgreen market, which sounds ridiculous saying, but that's just
I
the
do
nature
that
of
all the
business.
time.
I know. Have y'all ever like eaten or bought microgreens either in a grocery store or at like a cafe or anything?
At a cafe, I've never purchased them.
Yeah.
I think I have without realizing what microgreens are, because you said sprouts.
Well, yeah. So alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts.
I've done like bean sprouts.
Bean sprouts.
Yeah, so I've done the bean sprouts before.
It's literally just like small green thing. Like
Yeah.
it's such a funny name because it's completely on the nose.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so interesting. I never even realized what I was eating, but I love those things.
Yeah. And they while they taste like grass, it's also like if grass tasted good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've never been like, ew. I've been like, I didn't expect to like it that much. you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
What about you, Nate? Have you ever bought microgreens either at a grocery store or like on a avocado toast or something?
Never like intentionally, but yeah, I've definitely like enjoyed them on avocado toast before. But yeah,
So let's dig through our experience with those and so I've bought them pretty regularly at the grocery store in containers and somewhat regularly at cafes. And on the grocery side, one of my complaints is like it's too many of them in the containers and they're kind of bundled up and I have to like pull them apart. And I always feel weird doing that. I don't really have any complaints on the like consumer side, like at a restaurant or something. So do y'all have any complaints on that side?
I think even what you were saying about like it's so many, it's bunched together. Going back to like the ADD ones of us that have the food in our fridge that then gets rotten and then we have to throw it out. Like, yeah, maybe even it's like a smaller amount of the microgreens, almost more of like like you can get like a portion size. Like here's just like a quick hit of microgreens and therefore
A microdose
of microgreens. And so maybe if you're like, oh, you know what, we're gonna have sandwiches on this night, you just get 2 packs.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's like there's little packs of yeast that you can buy. It's like a single serving of yeast, a single serving of microgreens.
Yeah,
cool. So yeah, I think that might be a really cool UVP in that packaging being the sustainable non-plastic kind of protein, like you can plant it and use it as fertilizer for your next batch of microgreens.
The thing I worry about if we make the amount so small on the money side is that per the packaging for that small amount, can we charge enough to like actually make money on it?
Well, so when you buy things that are smaller, you're doing an upsell for convenience. A lot of times, like with cut pineapple, it's almost the same price to buy like a little container of pineapple as a slightly bigger container. And it's just because like it basically took them the same amount of time to cut both. You're more choosing how much you think you're going to eat. Yeah. So I don't think the price would have to be too much lower, but also I think on the front end, if we could find a packaging solution that is from waste that we ourselves make, like imagine it's like, I don't know, either made out of burlap sacks or soil that's packed down into like containers or bags or I don't know, something like that where our main like packaging supply doesn't cost much because we're already making it. Or like coffee grounds, like what if we made out of coffee grounds?
That'd be cool. In terms of like we talked about convenience, I'm just wondering like it probably would be with refrigeration or something, it may be hard, but like what if it was like a subscription service? If we couldn't ship it to their door because we're worried about like it has to be on like ice or something crazy like that, which maybe even be a thing.
But what if it's vacuum sealed?
Oh yeah.
Then you can do whatever.
Yeah. Right. So we could do like subscription, like microgreen services, and they can choose like the amount they want. So it still hits that level of like, I just want the amount that I want, but it's super convenient, makes it way easy. A lot of the people that I think would really be into microgreens also don't love going to the store and interacting with real people when it comes to like shopping. So yeah, just what if it was like, click the button, microgreens at my door.
With shipping though, like with pairing a sustainable product with shipping kind of negates.
It's counter-brand.
Because what are you going to like ship the product in probably a box, which is not super environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, not even the box, but the gas of the shipping and everything too.
Yeah.
But I know because I've worked on a blueberry farm brand before in marketing world where you could pay extra to negate carbon emissions.
Nice.
And then it would like be like a carbon tax kind of, where you could feel better about paying for this like sustainable organic product being shipped to you directly. But the problem was also the container it was being shipped in was styrofoam. Mm-hmm. So people were very unhappy and they did not want to buy the product. Even though they supported the blueberries and the business, they didn't want it to be shipped to them because it went against what they stood for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
good insight.
That's huge. What if another part is we figure out how to grow on top of rooftops and take previously unused space and turn it into grow space, because people don't really use their roofs. And we could pay them a very low, maybe just a percentage of sales, or just say like, hey, we're going to actually use your roof. This will be especially useful in really big cities. I don't know.
Another thing I've been thinking of is like, this is almost like a novelty product in a way, where like if it's something where like you can grow your own greens afterwards, that's like a great gift, you know, where like if you have a friend who's like getting into like going green or getting into like eating more healthy, that's such a good like little present. So I feel like the pricing could kind of be negated by the fact too of like, this might not be something you're buying all the time, but it's something like that people are willing to pay a bit more for, because it's something that's going to have like a lot of value to like their friends.
It's also a dying industry.
Yeah, that's true.
So you want to be able to grow your own, because you can't buy them anymore soon.
That's fair.
We do need to reframe though. I forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah, same.
So 2 to 5 years, our industry is going to be dead. So how are we transitioning out of this into something else or selling out?
Microgreens.
From broccoli sprout to broccoli.
Yeah.
Just let them grow a little longer. We keep all of our farms. Just let the plants grow longer.
Yeah. Going back even further to agriculture. So what if it becomes a advertising company that we turn into, and we have the cost of the packaging covered by an ad that we sell to someone? And so, for example, there's this business called Free Water, and it's literally free, and they just hand it out to people, and it's because all of the water bottles are paid for by the ads on the water bottle. So what if we did that? And so we start with targeting green oriented businesses, and we say, hey, do you want an ad like directly to someone that is interested in greens or microgreens? Be like, yeah, of course. So you start with that and just on the shipping, and then you're turning into a green ad company, and you can move on to other products. And so then you're not putting yourself in the corner with the microgreens, but you're turning into it. And like, you know, the whole Gary Vee thing, like every company should be a media company, not a blank company. So what do y'all think about that?
No, I totally think that's a great idea. I even think besides the ad thing, we could do a show about just like healthy living, or like a podcast about healthy living. And then microgreens just happens to be like the thing that we're like, by the way, here's this, you know, like product, like this is what we sell. But today we're going to be talking about all things that a lot of people who happen to like microgreens also care about. And then also for us, like if we could have the other revenue we can generate just from having like our own content.
Cool. All right. So I think that's our UVP. So moving on to key metrics or key things we measure. So since we just transitioned to an advertising company rather than a strictly microgreens, our main metrics are going to turn into return on clicks, return on investment, and more. So Dylan, I think you can talk probably the most here on kind of how brands measure their success. What do they kind of look for usually? Yeah,
so success is measured, of course, by how much profit you make, but you have to watch for like a few things if you're doing things online. So like some KPIs you can look for are kind of determined on what your goal is. So a lot of times people will look on whenever you're like advertising on a website, like how much it is for you to get a click. So your CPC, cost per click, your click-through rate. So like how many people are clicking through your website, looking through your website, the cost per click, cost per add to cart, and then cost per final purchase. So you can see all of those statistics laid out, and a successful KPI for those is usually to not lose too much money. Most of the time you're going to spend more money advertising your product than you're going to actually make in profit at the beginning. So it's always, you have to spend money to make money in the advertising world. So those are some good KPIs, but those are really determined on just what you want out of your goal, like what your goal is for the campaign you're running or for your business. So it can change. Every campaign you make can have a different KPI. It's just determined on how you're feeling.
Nice. Cool.
Nate, you have any other insight on KPIs or anything?
I will say first off, just for people who don't know, KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. So those are like we were saying, like metrics that you're looking for when you're judging this kind of stuff. No, I think Dylan hit it basically around the head of like, yeah, at first things are probably going to look a bit rough when it comes to like selling ads and things like that, but that is just the nature of it. It's something that's to be built up over time.
I think what would be interesting is to start by trading the ads for in-kind and trying to find some sort of resource that can cut a big cost out of the product. So, hey, we'll trade you all the ad space if you give us like, I don't know, a bunch of burlap sacks or however we determine the packaging is going to be. But since we have the startup cost to start, a lot of that is fine. But it's going to be the cash flow that becomes the biggest issue. So what's our unfair advantage? Something that can't be easily copied or bought?
Well, we definitely have the good grandma story. So
The big like obvious one to me is like we started off with some capital because of the BOON that we got.
Yeah, but that can be copied or bought.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's us. I mean, we have a marketing like brain and we know small business pretty well. And we're looking at this as a holistic thing and not just because we really like microgreens.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's kind of weird to call it an unfair advantage because anyone can have it. But I think it's one of the biggest differentiators for successful businesses rather than non-successful is people that look at it as, okay, this is a living entity. This is a holistic being. And not just, I really like coffee and I want to make a lot of coffee. That'll get you to a certain point, but you're going to hit a ceiling no matter how good at making coffee you are.
I think, that's the unfair advantage. Just knowing also like what other places charge like small businesses for marketing, like that's a huge cost that we don't have to incur.
Well, and imagine, I mean, you walk up to a small business who has just been quoted like $5,000 for someone to do their social media campaign, and you say, hey, if you pay me $1,000, I can get your like information printed on 5,000 bags of microgreens. Like that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Or even 50,000. We'd have to run the numbers more in a real case basis, but I think there's a much higher conversion of money to ad space going to a very, very hyper focused target market that you couldn't really offer anywhere else. I also think what would be interesting is to look into dried microgreens because that would kind of answer the keeping it good longer. So if it's dried, it's going to be more concentrated as well, and then you can vacuum seal it. And so then you're still answering the kind of the sustainable side and the accessibility, but then it'll last longer as well.
Yeah, I love that.
So maybe that's a pivot we would make.
Yeah.
So then channels. What are our paths to customers going to be? Like, how are we going to get it to customers?
Facebook. Facebook, Pinterest, whatever the moms are on, moms and dads, grandmas.
I think LinkedIn too. I mean, I think actually customer segments should go first and then channels.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to talk
do that.
Customer segments, like who are our target customers?
So we're looking at probably people who are looking to eat healthier, maybe want to do a healthy lifestyle, who are against overconsumption, environmentally friendly, yoga moms, people who like smoothies.
Yeah, and I would argue the opposite as well. I think those are the people that are going to be really easy to convert. And I think the other one that'll be harder to convert, but will stick with it longer, or maybe just be a crazy convertee, would be people that hate healthy stuff, but hate either how they feel or look and want something to make it easier, but not taste really bad.
Yeah.
I think this is, I think it would be a fun thing to pivot towards that. So you have your typical green branding, then you have your atypical like
I can't believe it's so healthy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can't believe it's not butter. Like, can't believe it's not
Bleep that.
Can't believe it's micro.
can't believe it's microgreens. I can believe it.
Yeah, and I think too, people on the go a lot. So business professionals, people that don't have a ton of time to eat but still need that. I mean, so probably people that are drinking 5-hour energies, probably gonna eat this.
Better alternative.
And so that's something that we can kind of tag branding onto as well, is just target people that are already being targeted by them. Do the Burger King to McDonald's dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking of like all other specialty health kind of things. That, like people,
Not even just health, but convenience. I don't think it's necessarily health.
So
I think
both.
Both.
Yeah. And so like for that, I'm like, okay, there's lots of watering holes online where we could go find those people and just be
Like drive-through coffee shops.
Yeah. So it's like, who can we wholesale with that like wants to get on this in an easy way? All they have to do is say yes, and we deal with all the
Microgreen
stuff.
latte.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you already got like that great matcha, so might as well throw this in.
Ever wanted to chew your latte? I have the product for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I think the final target market would be culinary experts. Like imagine either someone that is a chef or someone that really likes to cook, and either the family side of it that they want to add something extra, or the nutrition side like we talked about, or so when you go to a fancy restaurant, the garnish is just as important as the entree sometimes, whether it's the parsley or whatever. So imagine it's a garnish that's also injects like super nutritional value, and that would be a really interesting market to attack and see how invested they get, because there's so many farm to table chef programs going on. So this would be the next step. It's like farm to table to healthy stomach. Yeah.
No, that's cool. And maybe like as just side note, like as a super fun ad type thing, since they brought like Iron Chef back, like what if we could like get our microgreens on there? That would be so cool.
Yeah. What's the next ingredient, chef? Not your grandma's microgreens.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to channels now that we know our customer segment.
How do we get them?
How are we going to talk to those people? So again.
So I think Facebook, LinkedIn, Chris. LinkedIn for all those business professionals on the go. LinkedIn is very good right now for organic and paid media, just because it gets a lot of traction. Facebook is just where a lot of like those audiences are always going to be. Well, not always, but right now are. Instagram.
You look at healthcare brands, or even what's it called when it's you do good stuff for yourself, like self-care brands, like Dr. Teal's and stuff like that. They're huge on Instagram and huge on collaborations, and that would make sense. And maybe TikTok too, and try and get since this isn't necessarily a super local focused brand, and we're trying to get big, especially if we ship. Doing and trying to start our own like viral TikTok trends.
And just
how green are you?
Sprinkle some love to the micro influencers.
Bring back the
micro influencers from Microgreens.
Yeah.
And also like email marketing would be really huge. Implementing newsletters, going into like getting sponsored on like blogs and stuff like that. Like healthy eating blogs, healthy cooking, just like have us as like a recipe, and then we can open an affiliate program for those blogs to make some money too. But TikTok. So TikTok is like, can go a long way with a little bit of money that you put into it. It's a bit harder to set up ads on TikTok than it is on Facebook and Instagram. They don't really necessarily let anyone do it. You have to kind of like ask. But most people are able to once they go through the process. And then there's also this trend of like TikTok made me buy it is huge. And like even a few months ago, Amazon opened like a TikTok made me buy it campaign. We're like on the very beginning of their homepage, like on Amazon, it would be like hashtag TikTok made me buy it, and like all of like the top products that were featured on TikTok. So if we can like get into those niches like that we discovered in our customer segments on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok, then I feel like it would just snowball from there after we have some capital put into it.
Yeah, I think doing like a cooking show too, where we give free product to cooking influencers on TikTok and Instagram, and it's like make 5 recipes with our microgreens and then do videos on them and show people how to use them, and that'll be a fun trend to do. And stuff like that where it's more fun and engaging, and it's like, oh, that sounds really good. What is that they're using? There's this guy that is on TikTok that's a chef. It's like Chef Reacts to, and he just watches other people cook, and he just says like
the monotone.
Yeah. Completely monotone, straight man, has no like inflection, but I love watching his content. And he always, at the end, he's like, 6 out of 10 would definitely eat, or like 1 out of 10 would eat, but begrudgingly, you know, or 10 out of 10, he makes me feel like a bad chef, but getting him to also react to some of those videos would be huge too. So.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
And then on a local side, I mean, going to vegan cafes and any green sort of things, and just like telling them what the product is, what the values are, and trying to get into atypical structures like drive-throughs, like bagel shops, and having it as a topping, or smoothie places, just as an add-in, stuff like that.
I think also like taking an educational aspect of it, like people who don't know about it, like educating them on our social media through ads or organic media, and then even like having that turn into UGC with like the Chef Reacts to whatever has the microgreens with it.
Have like a game show, like what the heck is a microgreen?
Yeah.
Today on what the heck is a microgreen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it.
Have people come on and eat microgreens for the first time and like react to,
Or they're blindfolded.
Yeah.
What are you eating? Grass?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I think we got some good paths to the customer. So you guys want to talk cost structure? How this is going to work?
Yep.
Cool. So we got to look at some like how we're going to acquire our customers, distribution costs, how we're going to get people, all that good stuff.
Is this just like customer acquisition, or is this also like the kind of the business model side of like how we're gonna sell this stuff?
It's pretty much both.
Both.
Yeah.
So this is like marketing budget, customer acquisition costs.
Half that, and then half like what our actual business model is.
Okay.
So AKA Michael mentioned a subscription model. We could do that. It could be just a direct to market, like, B2B thing where we target grocery stores mainly. It could be both.
Yeah. Also, if we could get partnerships with like big chains that are also trying to push health conscious food. So like, we're decaffeinated, so this is like blasphemy to say this, but like a Starbucks or something. Like,
Blasphemy.
like, could we spread it out, or like a Jamba Juice or something like that? Could we partner with them and be the supplier?
Tropical smoothie.
Yeah, tropical smoothie.
I think also of like already existing like meal prep and like delivery like services.
HelloFresh.
Yeah. Forming like partnerships with
Good
them.
idea, Nate.
Yeah.
Especially because so they specifically put ingredients in that aren't going to spoil very fast. So they like potatoes a lot. They like they have like little jars of ketchup. So that would be super
especially
easy.
With the dried and vacuum sealed.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, I think that might be one of the primary markets you can go after. And then too, like, online would be huge, but I think getting into specialty like markets, like a Whole Foods, going after those. Yeah. Anything with green in their logo.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah. If for those listening, if you've never dug into the psychology of colors, definitely should. There's a reason McDonald's is red and yellow. It's because they don't want you to stick around, and they want you to, just leave. And then
give us money and leave.
Yeah, and then anything that wants you to trust it and think it's healthy is green or brown. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I think with like consumer acquisition, with almost every startup, I know in my opinion, and then a lot of like like Gary Vee's opinion, and you kind of mentioned this briefly at the beginning, is like every business has to be a media company first, as in we're living in a world that's run on social media, and that's how most people are doing their marketing. So to get there and like have a successful marketing campaign, you have to be a media company first, understand how you are using social media to grow your brand, and also understand that what you put out on your social media page is going to be basically a storefront. It's going to be the first thing anyone sees. So whenever someone hears about your brand, what are they going to do? They're going to look it up. And what's going to pop up? Your website, your social media platforms. So they click on your Instagram, it needs to have a bio. That's like, here's a call to action, or here's who we are, call to action, then like a link. And then it's going to have your virtual storefront, what you're all about. So they need to be like pieces of media that look good. They shouldn't look bad, because that's the first like interpretation that someone has on your brand. So they have to be like pieces of content that look good, pieces of content that sell, and have a good call to action to convert.
It's really like your Instagram is a Tinder profile. It's like all your
Exactly.
customers are relationships you're trying to attract. So is it love at first sight, or do they have to really dig to find something they like about you?
Yeah, because a lot of times if someone doesn't like your social media page, they're not even going to try your product.
Yeah.
Or the other half is we've been trained to be so mistrustful of anything on the internet for good reason. So I know personally, if there is even a hint of something that makes me doubt whether or not something's like legit, I'm probably not going to buy from them. So like anything that's misspelled, any links that don't work, anything that's like, if you go far enough back, it's like this random dude from some other country that's posting a selfie, you know, is this actually what this brand is? So you have to be really careful, especially if you are, you know, a legit brand, to not give people reasons to doubt you when they shouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. This kind of is going like a little bit into the next one, which is revenue streams. They kind of overlap a little bit with cost structure. So I'm thinking in terms of our fact that the industry is dying. Like we only have 2 to 5 years to like get this thing and make some money and build up enough of a structure to then pivot into a different business. So it sounds like with the stuff like partnering with like a HelloFresh, if we can wholesale partner with them, Publix and Whole Foods and other stuff, like that might be like more of the actual like way that we're making money in the first couple of years. But I think it's important that we do have that direct to consumer like version as well, because that's going to build up the brand so that we can make money in that way in the 5 years once Microgreens are fully dead.
Well, and I think that means steering into like a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
So in from years 0 to 2, we should be making those relationships like Nate was talking about with the HelloFresh and all that. We should be making relationships with as many local to regional like restaurants and chefs and stuff as possible. We should make a cookbook. We should and like collaboration and partnership should be the name of the game. So it should be approaching as many people as possible, going to networking groups and saying, hey, how can we do something together where we both win and neither of us have to pay much money? And then the realistic goal, especially for something that's dying in 2 to 5 years, is we become such an integral, important part to a big business's business that they offer to buy us out. So imagine we become like, we start out with HelloFresh as the microgreens, and then we start offering 1 or 2 other things that they also use in their boxes. It makes more sense at some point for them to say, you know what? I like what you guys are doing. It's become a huge value to our boxes. I love your cookbooks. I love your content. We're just going to buy you and then either replace you with our own people or just pay you to keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. And so that's the best exit strategy I think we have is that, but it also means that we need to focus on obviously still a great product, great branding, all of that, but also how can we make this as much of a lifestyle brand as possible?
I think even if we didn't want to take like an exit, if we wanted to just instead adapt into a new product, I think what's important is us focusing on us not selling just to sell microgreens, but selling to sell our mission. Our why. So if we can sell our why, then we are why we're doing it, but we're also a microgreen company and we're also a marketing company. Because we're having like 2 possibilities of revenue streams from our microgreens and from our marketing and media. So if we can sell our mission and like we're about sustainability, healthy lifestyles, microgreens are cut. We're still a marketing company. So what else can we add on to that after we've already built that base?
Yeah.
All right. Yep. I already know one of our videos. I only ate microgreens for 30 days. Here's what happened.
And it's just a dead person.
no, we play out. We'll have to do it really quick because She-Hulk and stuff. But the thumbnail on YouTube is like one of us like stuffed with greens in our mouths, but our skin is also green.
You won't like me when I'm hungry.
Yeah, and so it would be that's our first big video.
I love it.
I like it. No.
Yeah. Maybe one other market that would be interesting is protein supplements. Because the big thing from what I've seen, one of the big things with if a protein supplement is good or not is the number of different like proteins that are in it. And so if we could build up our sprout base, have alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, all the different kinds, and then create a blend or something that people can like put in their smoothies or whatever, then it just adds to that, and we can sell it to GNC. And because from what I learned last week that if you can buy something in Walmart, you probably can't buy it at GNC because once it's hit Walmart, people will no longer buy it at GNC. So their whole like thing is they want to find the things first, and then once it's hit big enough to where Walmart picks it up, they replace it with something else.
Interesting.
That'd be a really interesting place to start with. Something like that is at GNC. So
yeah, I dig that. We could call that one Sprout.
Yeah,
Sprout supplements.
Oh man, cool. All right,
nice.
What's next?
All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty. We're taking all the stuff we've done and we're going to start actually imagining like forecasting. So how are we going to go from our first sale to $1,000 to 10 to 100 to 1 million?
Yeah. So first sale, setting up at a farmer's market.
Yeah, 100%.
Setting up at any market really, especially in Chattanooga, like the Chattanooga market. I mean, that would be really easy. It's really easy to convince people. I would say having a really good brand setup, like table setup, would be important, but not so good that it looks like we're like this corporate entity.
Yeah, we want those penny sales at the beginning.
We want it to be grassroots.
Grassroots marketing.
Maybe that's the name of our company.
Oh,
grassroots.
Cool. We won't look up if that's trademarked or not. It probably,
we'll just take out
it probably is. Yeah, but it's okay.
Ass roots.
Yeah.
Sit your butt down and remember.
It's changing the target customer a lot, but that's okay.
You don't think HelloFresh was on there?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's first sale. What do you? Okay, but what's the step after that? What do y'all think?
I think like continuing like those local, like building our brand locally, and then getting that like what's the word? Our social proof.
Yeah, social proof and validation.
Validation, and then we go to like other health related brands and say, hey, you want to put your ad on our packages. And I think that's how we go from maybe making 1,000 to that 10K mark is through ad revenue.
And in my head, the first key businesses we would approach in Chattanooga specifically would be Pruitt's on Signal Mountain, which is a local grocery store.
Yep.
Elder's Ace Hardware, because they have a huge local section. And then just basically immediately starting the application process with Whole Foods and Publix. Yeah. Because a lot of times it can take up to a year for approval. But once you're in, it's a regional thing. So you're not just in Chattanooga groceries, you're in that brand, but regionally. So you can go as far as Murfreesboro, Memphis, etc.
I also think trying to get in with like a Vibrant Meals kind of thing as well. That way people are starting to have education already in terms of like, ooh, I'm already eating these things. But what is this awesome texture on there? Yeah. Boom. Microgreens, baby. Yeah.
Well, and even imagine, so like with a ramen packet, it comes with a little like flavor packet. What if we had a Microgreens flavor packet that came with the Vibrant Meals stuff? Because a lot of times the nature of pre-made food is it gets kind of soggy or less fresh, but if it's in the side, then you add it as you're eating it.
Yeah, you get that nice texture still. Yeah, perfect. And exactly what you were saying, Dylan. Like, I think once we got like a few of those super local partnerships, that's exactly what we can be like, hey, you know what? We'll be able to show the data of what's sold and we can prove to the big boys and to get to that like 10K mark.
I will say the big considerations we need to make are how we're going to do this production. The nature of it being such a small packaging is cost of labor is going to be high per package. So our first big purchase, and maybe that's something we would buy with our startup expenses, is a packaging machine. Because it goes from you being able to package like maybe 100 an hour to like literally 10,000. And then figuring out just doing due process on the packaging itself, honoring the green and eco-conscious side of things, making sure that we're doing some focus groups to make sure that it checks all the boxes of the people that we're trying to sell to. Because the thing that would immediately kill our brand is if we say we're, green and eco-conscious and then send things in styrofoam, or we use like dead cow manure or something, we don't want to do that. So just being very, very careful with every single thing we put into it so that we don't accidentally do something just from ignorance.
That battery thing was so funny.
We cannot handle an interruption. When we roll something worse than what we rolled this time and we have to do like crazy stuff, we're screwed.
No, it's fine. So yeah, forecasting, we talked about our first sale, our thousands, our 10,000s. The name of the game is going to be our production facilities, the process for everything, making sure it all still tastes good. And it is good. And then finding a space to grow everything. The easiest thing would be to go to like Rossville in the mill, because they're renting out super cheap light manufacturing spaces. You don't need it to be pretty. You just need it to be, no mold, no rust, no, what's the asbestos? And then just like, have
more like as worst as.
And then just as we grow, dumping funds into the logistics side, making sure we get things where they're supposed to be on time, making sure that we actually make enough of stuff and not making too much of stuff. Because as I learned with Becaffeinated, it really sucks to have like $20,000 worth of inventory and you're only moving through like 1,000 a week, which is hyperbolic. But you don't want to have your money tied in inventory. You'd rather do it kind of just in time, but also you don't want to be caught with your pants down and just not have anything to send people that are trying to pay you money.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So in terms of like, so it sounds like pretty much to get to 100,000, it's like, we just got to get our shit together. It's like get our actual distribution and like regular like partnerships going locally. And then that will probably take us to 100. And then it's like leveraging that, doing really well. We can hopefully kind of do the twofold approach of really putting stuff into like media and ads, while also, because of doing that, getting more awareness, we have more leverage to try and get a HelloFresh or a place like that. And really that would be kind of our goal, to get to that million before we die, so that then we can keep living as a different type of business.
Or sell.
Or sell it.
Yeah.
So do we feel good about this plan that we could get this to $1 million?
Nate, do you want to run us through what it's looking like?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So our company, the way that's looking right now, our why of why we are here. So the tagline we came up with was remembering yesterday as we fight for tomorrow, because we are very much focused on being accessible, bring people back to those simple days as they eat our delicious microgreens, and also being nutritious and eco-friendly. As far as like our market, we decided that the kind of people that we were going for were people who are like busy and on the go, but also who are either interested in becoming more healthy or who are already into like the healthy lifestyle. Metrics wise, we'd have to use stuff like the KPIs that Dylan was describing. Our plan is to either transition into a marketing agency or to potentially get bought out by a larger company. So that's kind of how things are looking for us right now. we're going to do a lot of marketing on LinkedIn, Facebook, going to shows, and hopefully by linking up with other companies. So that's kind of how we're going to reach our people. And then we're probably going to focus very heavily on B2B instead of like directly like reaching the consumer. Or if we are directly reaching the consumer, it will either be through other businesses or through online sales, it looks like. So that's our general plan right now.
Yeah. Boom. All right. Making $1 million with Microgreens.
We need a business name.
Oh, yeah.
Microfiends.
Okay, well, it's like business name in light of the fact that we don't want to only be nailed down to Microgreens. So, all the green. It sounds
Okay.
like money. That's not it.
Green spleen.
No.
Green spleen. Sustainabros.
It's the best one so far. The green dream.
Green giant.
So I kind of liked, we talked about grassroots earlier.
Yeah.
And also sprout.
Yeah.
So I think there might be something along one of those two lines of thought.
What about sprouts with a Z?
No.
Sprout boys.
Sprout roots.
Yeah, sure.
Sprouts.
Sprouts. Made up words do
I
better.
like that.
Sprouts?
Sprouts.
All right.
We're sprouts.
Hey, we're sprouts.
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 I am with sprouts.
All right. Let's trademark it.
Okay.
TM.
TM.
All right.
Sprouts.
So we feel good about our plan to make $1 million. So now we'll put it up to you. Do you feel like we could make $1 million with this? And if you have other ideas of what you would do differently, let us know.
Have a hoot with sprouts.
Cool.
All right. Play us out. Play us out, Mike.
Great job, you guys.
Thanks. All we needed was someone to fund our entire startup costs.
Yeah. And then we crushed it.
Just
Then
do
we did
that.
it. Just do that.
I'm Nate.
Well,
And I'm Dylan.
I'm Mike.
I'm sprouts. I'm just kidding. I'm Chris.
And this is Making $1 Million with Hive Think.
Thanks for watching, Nick Jr.
I am sprout.
I am Groot.
Avengers.
Okay, I'm stopping recording now.